Hi, my name is Kristen Harlath, and I am 29 years old, and I'm in Pensacola, Florida. You'll have to excuse my voice. I'm sick right now. I have like the worst head cold ever, and so I sound like a smoker. I'm sorry. But my husband is in the military, so we're moving in a couple months, and we don't know where yet because that's how the military works. But I'm majoring in health and nutrition. I plan on getting a master's in dietetics. Um, my previous major was psychology, but recently I've gotten into going to the gym and working out and researching tons of health and nutritional information. And I got so into it, and it meant so much to me that I realized I was spending all my time outside of school researching this stuff. And I thought, if I care about it that much, why not make it my major so that this research I'm doing can go towards my degree instead of having to do double research. So um, I'm not completely sure what I'll do with it. I'll probably work at a gym as somebody who gives advice on stuff of that nature to start out with, and eventually I hope to kind of use the psychological desire that I had in conjunction with health and nutrition in helping people overcome all the barriers that they have between where they are and getting healthy. So anyhow, that is me. And I looked at the Health 2020, and so I'm going to go ahead and talk about three things that I chose to speak about. The first one is diet and nutrition, of course, pertaining to my major, and because it's something I'm really passionate about. The health objectives for the Healthy People 2020 version of it was pretty much that they want to support health benefits of eating a healthy diet and maintaining a good weight. And they wanted to emphasize efforts to change diet and weights to each individual behavior. And it includes just an array of like talking about how people's behavior is in environments, in schools, and where they work, in their community and whatnot. The reason that it's important, excuse me, I'm sorry, so trying to speak, is because your diet and your body weight are directly related to the health of your body. Good nutrition is important for the growth and development of little kids, but also adults too, and a lot of people don't take that into consideration as much. If you have good diet habits, it helps keep you from getting all different kinds of health conditions or diseases that a lot of people are faced with today, especially Americans. Being overweight or malnutrition or anemia or heart disease, diabetes, osteoporosis, all kinds of issues, some cancers, so things that people are dealing with on a wide scale that can be prevented or taken into control just by being cognizant of what you're doing health-wise. But individuals that are already doing that and are healthy are less likely to develop chronic diseases or experience complications during pregnancy. Just make healthier choices, and they teach their kids to make healthier choices, so it's just kind of a ripple effect. But the places where people appear to influence their diet the most are what they make at home, and it just talks about how the commercials that we see and the advertisements and everything is a wide spread reason for why people are like where you eat and the choices of the things that you eat out. You're consuming so many foods that aren't nutrient dense, and alcohol intake as far as going out and all that kind of stuff. It's really damaging, especially on a regular basis. And even if you're only doing things like that weekly, depending on the grand scale, can still greatly increase your risks of certain negative things in your body. So it's really important to educate people on this because people with a healthy diet pretty much just want to have nutrient-dense foods, grains, vegetables, low-fat or fat-free, dairy products, lean meats, lots, and protein sources. You want to limit bad cholesterols and trans fats, sugars, sodiums, hydrogenized oil, and limit your calorie intake versus how much you're expending. So that's pretty much the basis of diet and nutrition. Another one that I chose was cancer, because cancer is the second highest death rate among Americans, just short of, I believe, heart disease. So a lot of people around me lately have gotten cancer, and people close to me, dying of things. And I'm a huge advocate of this site called chrisbeatcancer.com, and it's about this guy named Chris who, when he got his diagnosis, instead of putting poison in his body and going through chemotherapy, he's just ate clean. It was a raw diet and totally reversed stage 4 cancer. I believe it was colon cancer too, so a really dangerous one. And a lot of people have followed what he did. By all means, do whatever surgery you can do to take out the cancer that has developed. But instead of putting poison in your body after that, going through chemotherapy, just changing your behaviors. And there's lots of people who have followed his advice and completely reversed their cancer. And so diet is huge. Being healthy is huge when it comes to this diagnosis. In the past decade, overweight and obesity have emerged as new risk factors for developing certain cancers like rectal, breast, uterine, kidney. And like I said, cancer is the leading cause of death, second only to heart disease. They say that among people who develop cancer, only half of them will be alive in 5 years. So this is huge. But a lot of them can be preventable, like by not using tobacco products, by physical inactivity and poor nutrition, and obesity and ultraviolet light exposure for those of you who tan. It's obvious that I don't. Super white, but and it's because of those things. And I've even gone as far as not using certain products. Like I make my own soaps and lotions. SC Johnson's a huge manufacturer of like parabens in their body washes and lotions, and those are all cancer causing things. The chemicals that we put on our skin every day, if it was a once in a long time thing, like, I don't know, self-tanning lotion you use once a month or whatever, you're less likely for that to be something that's a huge contributor. But if you're something you're using every day, like your shampoos, your body washes, your lotions, these things seeping into your skin on a daily basis, not good. So it sucks that we have to screen that much stuff, that so many organizations out there don't care. I mean, SC Johnson's, the Johnson & Johnson's, what we put on our babies' skin every day. And it has, these things in it that aren't good, that cause your cells to mutate, which essentially is what cancer is. So anyhow, very important that we get screened on a regular basis. And the physicians actually have one of the most important jobs, because recommendations for screenings that they give based on people's family history is one of the highest reasons for people getting screenings. So physicians, pushing this and helping people get screened regularly, especially those at high risk, is a big deal. And the last one that I chose was just adolescent health. I have 2 kids, and so everything starts young, and what you portray is what's healthy habit, whether you say it or not. What you're doing is what your kids are going to follow, and our adolescents seem to be in a lot of trouble. So it's not just being sick or unhealthy as far as physically and the way that they eat, but just all kinds of things that they're being faced with, like homicide, suicide, motor vehicle crashes, substance abuse, smoking, STDs, unplanned pregnancies, homelessness. I mean, the behaviors, patterns that are established during those developmental periods help determine a young person's health status and the risk for developing chronic disease after and later in childhood. But because they're in such a developmental transition, they're particularly sensitive to environmental influences like, your family, your peers, your schools, your neighborhoods. And these environments can either support or challenge a young people's health and well-being. And so I picked that one because I really feel like, all of the areas are important, but this just seems like one that kind of hits home. There are good programs out there that help steer them in the right direction, driver's license programs, teen pregnancy prevention programs, violence prevention, delinquency prevention, mental health and substance interventions, and HIV protection and whatnot. They say that the leading causes of illness and death among adolescents and young adults are likely preventable. So if that's true, then we need to be taking action towards that. Health outcomes for adolescents and young adults are grounded in their environments, like we talked about earlier. And the Health 2020, if you're interested in it, you should really look into that site, because it goes even further into the environments like family and schools, and specifically goes into like what areas in family and what areas in schools are like the most influential, one way or the other, whether positive or negative. And then obviously media exposure. Adolescents who are exposed to portrayals of violence and sexual content and smoking and drinking are greater at risk at adopting these kinds of behaviors. So what we parents allow our children to watch and see and take in, song lyrics even, what they perceive as cool and normal, are potentially dangerous. So we have a big job, and I think that maybe a lot of people don't really know the statistics out there, and they think that, people are their own people and they'll make their own choices. I made my own choices, but aren't really educated as far as the statistics of how much what we do and what we allow in their environments really affects them. So if what the statistics say are true on the Health 2020, that most of the deaths and downfall of adolescence is preventable, then let's do that. Let's prevent it. So anyway, I hope by next week or whenever we do more video footage that I'm feeling better and not talking like this anymore. But good luck to everybody, and I look forward to hearing your introductions and seeing your faces. So have a great semester.